This week's episode of Strange New Worlds felt a lot like one of those old standalone adventure episodes that were reminiscent of like Next Generation. There is some slight tie into the existing arcs that have been going through this season, but mostly this was just a good old fashioned hey, here are some alien ruins, some tech we don't understand that ties back to a time period we don't know anything about, and then bad things happen that we have to overcome as a team. So very classic. Honestly, felt a lot like Next Generation stuff. It felt a lot like some of the Stargate SG-1 episodes from back in the day. So we're going to be diving in. If you haven't watched the episode, go away, come back. I don't do spoiler free. You've been warned. So this is all about they make a discovery on um, this planet. And this discovery could theoretically be something that has to do with immortality. And this is where Dr. Corby is back again with Nurse Chapel. And they go down to these ruins to see what's up. And they're on a planet where the people have declined to join the alliance before, and so they're sending a very small away team. Now, part of this is one of the individuals who gets sent to the away team is our young new medical assistant who joined Dr. Mima in going down, Joseph's character, and he's very excited he gets to go down. And behind all of this stuff is the kid who's filming everything, Ortega's brother, who's here, and he's been given permission from Starfleet to record everything and document everything, much to the annoyance of Pike and Number One. Be that as it may, a small away team is sent down to the planet. It is led by Nurse Chapel. Spock is along. Originally, Spock stays on the ship, but he is assigned as the chief science officer to this. But they go down to the planet. They figure out a way to open up this temple. And when they get inside the temple, well, the first thing they have to do to get inside the temple is it turns out that the runes on the door are like it needs a blood sacrifice, and um, Corby's willing to like cut his hand open and go, and everybody's like, whoa, 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 calm down. And Chapel walks up, sticks her hand in this device, and just pricks her finger and gets a drop of blood and opens it up. And when they get inside, they find this chamber, and there are some bodies on the floor in the chamber, and there's like a central pedestal in the room, and then a bunch of hallways going off in different directions. Um, and It's a very big place on the inside. They start to investigate things, and they really don't know what it is yet, but they can sense, the readings are off the chart. There seems to be some transdimensional stuff going on. And in the midst of all of this, and by the way, this ties into some tablets and things that they found in another part of the galaxy, which is why they're here in the first place. That's kind of key. And I think that's going to be key to something that's probably going to become a running theme throughout the rest of this episode because of the Gorn as well, which I'll get to that in a minute. So, the big thing here is they open the packs of the dead individuals. They're not human, it's centuries old. And in the pack, they find some additional tablets, which have writing on it that match this ring thing that they brought from. I think it was the ring thing. I get confused with all the different bits and pieces that they've brought along the way. But the relic that they have from the other planet, the text matches. And as they're investigating all of this, our young doctor, who's on his first away mission, sees this like little bulb-looking thing inside the backpack, and it starts to glow. And he picks it up and he's looking at it, and it starts to become clearer. And then as it starts to become clearer and go from like this glowy white to a bright light, it explodes into his face and like burns out his eyes. Very trippy, very like alien-esque, Prometheus vibe, sort of Ridley Scott might be directing this episode. And he gets rushed back to the ship, and this is where things start to go really bad for everybody. Because it's obviously not just a grenade, and that's what our good old doctor finds out as he puts these eyeglasses on to try to regenerate the guy's eyes, and the eyes won't regenerate. And of course, the doc is confused because he's like, this isn't. Why isn't it regenerating? There must be something else at play here. Meanwhile, the away team goes back down below, and they decide that they're gonna abandon the dig. Now, as they're doing this, um, young Ortega, the filmmaker, with his the camera on his drones, finds another chamber, and in that chamber they see this like life form on like a pedestal. And as they see this, the ambassador guy who's with them, who's one of the natives, freaks out, says something about something evil, runs for the door, and gets disintegrated by lasers. And then the door is shut. And this is when more bad stuff starts to happen for the people inside because suddenly they are locked in. Now they decide that they're ultimately going to go through the door into the next chamber because that appears to be the only way to get out. But when they do, suddenly they're all separated, groups of two. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Now, ultimately, we've come to realize that they are all just in the same place, but they are in different planes of um, existence, different dimensions. And as we start to learn what's going on inside, we start to learn that that little flask that he found, there's a lot of other flasks, and Spock sees one come up and float in front of him, and the glowing light fades away, and he sees like this parasite thing that tries to jump into his face, but of course it can't get out. Back on the ship, which they don't know any of this is happening, our resident assistant doctor, whose eyes have been burned out, has now been taken over by this parasite, and his brain shows that he is dead. He's brain dead. He's completely dead, but he is still functioning, and yeah, it's just chaos happens on the ship as he basically runs amok, and they have to hunt him down. But what the really interesting thing here, and this is where it's going to tie into the Gorn, is that um, I gotta look up her name. Um, I don't remember her name. I don't see it here. Patel, Pike's girlfriend, comes into Med Bay, sees the young assistant with his eyes burned out, and her Gorn DNA like kicks in and takes over, and she starts speaking in a foreign alien language to the guy who responds in a foreign alien language, and they have a fight sequence, and then it's this is where I think because they found that other um, the relics on the other planet in a different part of the galaxy, which is what brought Corby here in the first place with Chapel. Um, and they appear to be centuries old, right? Potentially older. This is going to tie into some sort of inherent um, ancient enemy between the Gorn and them. They're called the VZDA, is what they called them, the VZDA. And yeah, it was really cool to see that happen though, because it's like, ooh, so there's some sort of ancient enmity between the Gorn and this creature. And when they're in there, they realize that there's more than just one, and there's many, many, many of them. And this is where they theorize that whatever this place was or is, they start theorizing: was it a lab? Is it what is it? Because it appears that they were exploring interdimensional space to try to achieve some sort of immortality or something, and apparently they discovered along the way these creatures who followed the scientists back through, and then they realized that this probably isn't a laboratory, this is probably now a prison. And so they lock it all up, and back on the ship they end up uh, taking out our young assistant, and as he dies, the spirit of this Vesda creature tries to escape, and Scotty like captures it in another bubble and then puts it in the transporter buffer to like isolate it and put it in quarantine. Which may not be the best idea because as the episode is ending, Mamanga is calling back to Earth to report the passing of this assistant, and you see the computer screen behind him start to like and like freak out, like something's going wrong with the computer, and it's like it's showing the screen of the Vezda creature inside of the quarantine, and it's acting like maybe it's trying to get out, or it's hacking its way through the system. We don't know. But good standalone adventure, kind of creepy episode this week, and I have a feeling it's going to tie in. Well, at least I hope it ties in some way to the greater story arc with the Gorn and this being an ancient threat and more. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. Can't wait to see more. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and I'll see you next week for more Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But tomorrow we've got another episode of Foundation. We are reviewing movies as well and other shows, so make sure to stay tuned for all those things, and I'll see everybody in the next one.